Welcome back, everybody. I'm Phil. It's the Drop Bear Perspective. Now, while here in Australia we seem to be embracing radical Islam, somehow everyone's been duped by it. I mean, they're still out protesting, or more so demonstrating, even though there's a peace deal on the table for Palestine, but yet they're still out there just showing that they're anti-Semitic. They hate Jews. That's what it's all about. It's not about the children in Palestine. We here in Australia are still letting in the very ISIS brides, for crying out loud. We've literally got 2 more just come in. The only way they could do that is their government allowed them to come in, despite what Albo says. Every time Albanese opens his mouth, he is dribbling shit. Now, while at the same time we're letting in extremists to come back home, the UAE, which is a Muslim country, literally rejects radical Islam. Let's see what they've got to say, mate. This guy here, you know,
You cannot be Muslim more than me. You will not be more Arab than I. So why is it that I banned the Muslim Brotherhood and you haven't?
Istanbul, alhamdulillah, now in our hands. Rome one day will be in our hands. And every house and every tent will have a Muslim in it.
Why is it the fact that Islamic relief is banned in UAE and it's banned in Mecca, but is allowed in Paris and in London? So
it's allowed here in Australia too. What's that got to tell you? The Brotherhood, Islamic Brotherhood, they're not banned here in Australia either. All these different groups that are literally banned by Islamic countries like the UAE, we allow them to thrive. So our government is literally complicit in supporting terrorism.
yeah, there is a lot of questions to be asked.
More British citizens travelled to the Islamic State to fight in its ranks than joined the British Armed Forces.
We are coming and we will destroy you.
The problem is not with the freedom of speech. The problem is that there is an evil inside your society now using that policy of freedom of speech to...
It's not all Muslims. Islam itself isn't a radical religion. It's literally when you take pieces of any religious text and use it to justify murdering people, which they literally do. And yet you got Muslim countries like the UAE, they thrive. And yet you've got other countries like Syria, Iraq, the list goes on. They are pieces, they're just shitholes. And you wouldn't want to bloody visit them.
abuse it and to destroy your society.
Exactly.
My name is Stefan Thompson. I'm the founder of VisaGrad24 and I'm here in the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi. And today I'm with Amjad Taha, an Emirati geopolitical expert and a great advocate of peace. Amjad.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Fantastic to be here with you.
Great to see you finally.
Finally. Amjad, let's start with the differences between Islam here in the United Arab Emirates and the Islam that we see on our TV screens. The Islam of radicalism that we see everywhere.
When you say on our TVs, I believe the West is what you mean. And on the West, what we see also, we are very shocked most of the time. You see radical Islamists, Muslim Brotherhood, who are
Muslim Brotherhood,
former terrorists or terrorists themselves, but in the West they have been named as activists, those who run away from justice in their own country, and those who committed a crime have been involved in various heinous acts such as rape and beheading and so on.
See, Australia and all the European countries, they won't send them back home because they'll get sent to jail for the crimes that they've committed in their own countries. What is the problem with that? How is that against human rights? You fucked up. You pay the damn consequences.
All of those individuals right now, they live in the West as teachers, as lecturers, as doctors, and as protesters, as protesters who protest to glorify the Muslim Brotherhood, the armed forces at least of the Muslim Brotherhood, as we see after the
Even here in
7th of
Australia.
October. By that I mean Hamas. They glorify terrorism and all form of terrorism. And they do not respect the rules and the regulation of the countries that they say they went there and they had a refugee status there. And as they get the citizenship, they start recruiting the citizens of the West to become hostages of the Islamist propaganda all the way in the Middle East, which their parents ran away from them and they went to the West and they became a citizen. However, this new generation of theirs, they start becoming the recruiters of those Islamists in the Middle East, and they're right now at a stage of making more lone wolves. And we saw that lone wolves policy of ISIS. A lot of
Well, shit, we literally just had an attack on a synagogue in was it London? It's in the UK. And then within hours, you've got protesters or demonstrators out for Palestine. It was literally showing their hatred of Jews. A man literally tried to ran a man down and tried to break into the synagogue to stab people, had a fake bomb on. It was just lucky that they were able to stop him from getting actually into the synagogue and hurt more people. I'm expecting it to happen here in Australia any day, to tell you the truth. I mean, shit, we literally just had an Arab, he was from the Middle East anyway, a 60-year-old man, shooting up down in Sydney. And he was on the top of his kebab shop, for crying out loud. And it's just, wow. I'm waiting for a real extreme attack because it is so close. The fuse has been lit.
those extremists who some were European went all the way and became members of ISIS in Iraq and Syria. They actually were members of the Green Lane Mosque, for example, or in Birmingham in UK, in Small Heath, or in Sheffield, or in West Sydney, Australia, or in Canada. So they were part of that civilized culture and that civilization, great civilization in the West. However, because of the scholars that Britain, Canada, or Australia, or any other country, ignoring or ignorance of the fact that this scholar is recruiting and is not speaking about religion, is actually using the space and the place in the West and the freedom of speech.
So if we speak out and say anything, it's Islamophobia. Yet he's literally telling it how it is. It's just absolutely insane that these goody two-shoe leftists that are in charge, they are either totally ignorant or they are complicit. There's no in between.
To make these children or these students or these people in the West to become the hostage of the Islamist, and then later on to become the soldier that kills his own neighbor.
I saw a really shocking statistic speaking about Westerners who joined ISIS. More British citizens traveled to the Islamic State to fight in its ranks than joined the British Armed Forces?
Yeah, the numbers are huge. We're speaking about more than 7,000, I think. Some of the Western who at least hold a European passport.
Why do you think Islamism is finding such fertile soil in Europe?
Two things. Well, various things, to be honest, not the two things. But the first thing is the fact that there is they abuse the freedom of speech. So what they do, they use the freedom of speech to justify anti-Semitism, for example. And they turn the anti-Semitism to become an opinion rather than a crime.
Sure.
So that space of freedom, but the fact that Europeans or the West.
At the same time, they're trying to basically bring in laws and everything to protect extremists by labeling us Islamophobic. And at the end of the day, we're not allowed to call a spade a spade. I mean, look at they've just Karen's just gone and blocked the bloody videos of Charlie Kirk and that poor Ukrainian girl that got stabbed in America. She was just hopped onto the train after her shift, heading home. And crazy black guy just literally pulls out a knife and just stabs her. And then now our government, they're literally trying to hide the truth. They don't want us seeing what is happening to white people and conservatives because that's not the narrative that they want to push.
Need to understand these Islamists right now, they know the error. They know this problem that you're having. Yes, it's not. The problem is not with the freedom of speech. The problem is that there is an evil inside your society now, is becoming a member of your society, using that policy of freedom of.
I mean, shit, our prime minister is literally a communist, for crying out loud. He has supported the Palestinian cause for forever. Literally met with Hamas leaders. He is totally complicit with Hamas. He loves the terrorist organization and always has. He cannot deny that in any way, shape, or form.
Speech to abuse it and to destroy your society, to destroy your universities. At one point, universities such as Harvard University, Oxford University, and those prestigious universities, people in the East and the West, they want to become a member of, or they want to study or teach there. Right now, when I remember Harvard University, I remember protests where Jewish students get persecuted, be swore at, be insulted. It's a place, as much as I see from the images recently, for riots, for people insulting each other, for teachers get attacked for having a different perspective or opinion. People fighting, people with masks covering their faces with flags of terrorist Hamas has.
Now, that's something that gets me. These Antifa protesters and that. If they really believed in their cause and that they were actually good people, why do they have to hide their faces? Just asking.
Hezbollah and all this. So they turned the place of education and knowledge to a war zone. When that happens, your civilization is either going down or it's breaking, and it's breaking under your observation. You're allowing it to happen. You can put rules and regulation, deport those Islamists. Do not let them harm your children. Do not let them harm your society, your community. Do not let them be the people who wake up on the 8th of October, for example, and tell you to boycott Challah, attack a Jewish restaurant just for being a Jew. And they justify it and they allow it. Don't be. This is your country. This is your civilization.
You pointed out deportations which I obviously couldn't agree more with. However, one of the structural problems that we have in Europe, certainly Western Europe, all the data that I have seen points to the fact that second and third generation migrants are much more likely to be radicals than first generation migrants, which means that if we are talking about France, many of the migrants are obviously from the Maghreb region, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco. In the UK, many come from Pakistan, Somalia. The second and third generation is more likely to be radicalized, and they are already citizens. Now, how do you deal with a radicalized second or third generation migrant that you cannot deport because he is a citizen of your country?
Yeah, with those you change the rules and the regulation when it comes to radicalization. For example, one great example of this is the fact that why did they become radical?
I would say there's many reasons.
One of which is they do have their own, they start separating themselves from the rest of the country and the rest of the community. One. Two, they start having those schools, what we call the jihadist school of Saturday, Sunday, so on weekend. Now, why did the government allow those scholars to be the scholars of those mosques? If the scholar does not support coexistence, peace, prosperity, and tolerance, it should not be that teacher of that new generation. Because what that student goes, or that person when he attends the mosque, is going there for the knowledge, for spirituality, and so on. Now, when you have the scholar himself is the evil, the result of that is that conduct of evil, which the individual himself will carry and do. The change for that is the educational system. So there need to be first look into those mosques, look into the societies, bring them more to close to each other. That they need to have a lot of activities together and so on. And also, why is it the fact that a person that lives in Dubai, a Muslim person from the same background of the person that lives in France or in UK, third, fourth generation here, they're still open mind, they're still Muslim, they're still conservative, yet they're not radical. They're not supporters or glorifiers of terrorists. But a person who is a Muslim living all the way in France or Britain is more radicalized and is more, there is more likely that he's going to become a member of the ISIS or a Muslim Brotherhood terrorist organization. Is the fact that the West, up to this point, the media is justifying the existence of, for example, Islamic Relief as a charity organization in UK or in the West. Why? It's not a charity organization. It's a foundation or an organization that steals the money from the West, the pockets of the people who are willing to help. Yet it takes that money and it gives it to organizations, terrorist organizations in the Middle East, under the name of a school and hospitals. But those schools are run by actual Islamist terrorists who fund and support even Hamas. You cannot be Muslim more than me. You will not be more Arab than I. So why is it that I banned the Muslim Brotherhood and you haven't? Why is it the fact that Islamic Relief is banned in UAE and is banned in Mecca, but is allowed in Paris and in London? Why? So there is a lot of questions to be asked.
Yeah, I think there's many more questions that we will explore in a follow-up to this. This has been a very good warm-up.
So now, if we are to say things like this, we're labelled racist, bigot, Islamaphobe. They're just words. Yet, he literally speaks the truth. And these extreme radical Islamists, they need to be booted. We can't tolerate them. Simple as that. They want to be radical, be extremists. They can go live in Syria or wherever that they come from, or even their family originally came from. Kick them all out. Australia does not need this bullshit. No Western nation needs this bullshit. Look what's happening in the UK now. It is just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, people are being locked up just for speaking their minds, telling the truth about the bloody rape gangs, for crying out loud. Until it was finally exposed, oh, the rape gangs did exist. The Pakistani rape gangs. Now, I hope you've liked this video, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I shall see you guys again next time.